Welcome to Karibu Anawim's program, 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk, where we explore topics related to living with a facial disfigurement. This program is for you, your loved ones, for educational purposes and professionals who would like to know more about living with facial disfigurement. Our presenters have lived experience, research background, or work with people living with facial disfigurement. It's important to begin the conversation with terminology that society understands and is clear. We use the word disfigurement as it is the medical and legal terminology. We recognise you may identify with other words such as visible difference or with your own diagnosis. Let's see where the conversation goes. So pull up a seat, grab a cuppa, and let's chat around the table with Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk.
Hi everyone and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. I need a cuppa, so let's have a little sip before we begin. Oh dear. Last week we looked at, do you really want to, avoid me? We looked at avoidance as an issue in our October topic, which is common issues out and about in public. This week, we're dealing with isolation. Yeah, isolation. Who has felt isolated? I'm not quite sure. I know I have. So isolation, is that an issue for us? It can be. And we can experience it on and off again, depending on where we are and whether or not we are, going into something new, or whether or not we are in amongst friends that know us. So why is isolation really an issue? Well, my thoughts are that even though society has said that it is very inclusive and is inclusive of all kinds of people, it's not that inclusive for people living with facial disfigurement or a visible difference. Have you experienced that yourself? They may say the right words, but where the rubber hits the road, we are experiencing isolation as a day-to-day thing that we deal with. Who experiences isolation? Well, it's not just us that may experience isolation. It may also be our parents who have raised us. It might be us as parents, us living with a facial disfigurement, us as parents. We might be isolated from other parents. I've experienced that. The people around you may experience some portion, some components of isolation at times, feeling very isolated, whether or not they would like you, thinking very seriously of whether or not they should invite you, even though their heart might be wanting to invite you, but will Fred and Fran, who don't know you, feel comfortable with you if they invited you to their party, for example? I'm just giving you an example. Who is isolation, an issue for? It could be other people, your family, your extended family members, your work colleagues, your, other people who are around you may experience some kind of isolation from time to time. And that's really hard. Types of isolation. Well, we could have smaller friendship circles. We could have, like I just said previously, we may not be invited over to other people's houses as much if they've got other people there, because the discrimination, the big D word, the discrimination may affect them, and they may not want that, or may not want to, they may not want you to experience that either. It might be a instead of a self-protection mode, it might be trying to protect you. Not being invited out to work functions, maybe might be another way of being isolated. So what do we do about it? What strategies can we do? Can we have, what strategies do you do? Do you have any strategies when this happens? Firstly, we've got to acknowledge that sometimes this is the case, and sometimes it sucks. It just sucks doing it. Sometimes it's okay to be feeling angry and frustrated at people's choices over whether or not they want to include you or exclude you, or be inclusive in excluding you, or being exclusive, excluding you to being inclusive. I don't know. I got that muddled, but I think that makes sense. And, you might want to express this in, your feelings in a healthy manner by journaling, by getting into your craft, or your knitting, or your painting, or your, instruments. You might play an instrument, or maybe punching a pillow, or going out or going to the gym, or going out and walking around the lake, or something like that. So remember that it's okay not to be okay. And also to practice being kind to yourself this week. As the month of October is, we're going to do a kids and adults breathing technique called trace your hands. It's very, very, very good. Trace your hands. So on your way up, you breathe in. When you get to your fingertip, you pause. And when you come down, you breathe out. Should we practice that? Breathing in, up on the fingertip, pause, breathe out through your nose on the way down. Breathe in, all the way up, pause, and breathe out all the way down. Breathe in, all the way up, hold for a few seconds, and breathe down. And breathe up, pause, and breathe down. Breathe out, breathe down. Breathe out, but trace your finger down your finger. You ready for the last finger now? Breathe in when you're traveling, tracing your finger up. When you get to your fingertip, wait or pause for a few seconds, and then breathe out through your nose, traveling down when you're tracing your finger down your finger. When you're tracing your you guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Well, this week we have talked about is isolation an issue for us out and about in public? Why that might be the case? Who may experience isolation? It may not just be us, ourselves. It might be our work colleagues. It might be our friends. It might be our family members. We've talked about some types of isolation, not very many of them, but just a few. types of isolation that you may be experiencing or may have experienced in the past or may experience in the future. And then what you might want to do about that. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. And we'll see you again, same time, same place, next week. And next week is, would you believe, our question and answer time. So thank you very much for coming. And hooroo, which means bye-bye.
By golly gosh, it's the end of Karibu Anawim's 15 Minutes at Dr. Zali's Desk. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Please remember that all information given during this episode is for general application only. If you have any specific medical issues, as always, consult with your medical practitioner. Like, subscribe and share on whatever platform you find us on. For more information, please connect with Karibu Anawim on our website at karibuanawim.com or email us at inquiries@karibuanawim.com.